Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. Earlier in the year I made a video calling 2021 the year of the GMT, and brands exactly did what I thought they would do. Pretty much every brand came out with a new GMT model. We saw it from Bulgari, Bell & Ross. I just saw a new one from Tag Heuer. Sort of an integrated bracelet look, really the jack of all trade kind of a watch. They have one with the date and they have one with the GMT hand. And also, of course, Seiko came up with a sharp edge presage, very grand Seiko looking. This is the limited edition 140th anniversary of Seiko. Very indeed sharp watch, very cool, that hides the underbelly with this very smart, sharp case. Quite a beautiful looking watch. Very modern, futuristic type of typically Seiko look, which I find a bit more anonymous. Although this watch is very beautiful, in the end, in the wild, I find those looks, for the moment, a bit more anonymous than the classic looks of a Patek or the Rolex brand. Here we have the Tudor BBGMT. Now before I go on, you might hear rain outside. Today we have typhoon approaching Hong Kong. It's only the Typhoon 3 alert. Typhoon 3 is when you can still go out. Then it escalates to Typhoon 8, Typhoon 9, where T9 you just can't go out. The wind can blow you off. But I've been out on a T9. It was interesting, sporty and fun. But right now we have a black rain, so there's a wall of rain outside. There's some roads getting cut off, some floodings, and the kids, which were able to go to school, are stuck now in school. So hopefully the situation will get better and the buses are able to bring back the kids later on. Otherwise, not sure how the evening is gonna go. But anyway, I am myself stuck inside at the moment, and I wanted to talk about my Tudor BBGMT, as I've had a lot of costs lately. I just moved address. I had to buy a lot of new things, and so I wanted to reduce a bit my collection ahead of also taxes coming at the end of the year. Make sure I'm ready for all that, and also I just want to reduce my collection. It's just too much. I think I want to concentrate to less pieces, and I think I've never really achieved the ultimate GMT ownership that I've set out to myself. I've put a lot of money into my beautiful Patek 5134. It is Rolex GMT money. Maybe not the Pepsi, but certainly you could get the two-tone or the black the GMTs for the price of that I paid for this. Normally this watch is worth quite a bit more, almost as much as the Pepsi, especially full set in good condition in a very rare dial. But it's a very precious watch. It's not one that you can actually really travel with unless you were traveling first class. And when I think travel, I think, carrying luggage, carrying the kids. Maybe need something that can go underwater. And so, yeah, as you know, the Rolex Pepsi is the perfect watch, or the Batman, the Batgirl. But even the two-tone, I'd love to have the root beer. I found an alternative. I wanted a watch as interesting as those, and for less than the retail price of the Pepsi. I got this dual time zone Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Sport with the complication, with the loom, with a great bracelet, extension in the clasp. Fantastic alternative, but there's no two way about it. If you love the Rolex look, it's what you want. And anyway, a few months ago, you've seen my video. I found finally in a shop the GMT, which is now pretty much available in all the Tudor boutiques here in Hong Kong. And I decided to give it a spin. I knew it was a bit big. I had been offered this watch before, second hand, and now I had the chance to get it new, so I did. And as I was trying it in the shop, I was thinking, I'm gonna have to sort of learn to love it, because it is heavy. Just holding it like this, it is heavy because it's a big case. 22 millimeter lug width. It's something that we tend to forget. We talk about the thickness of it, and I did a video about the thickness. It's not actually that different from a Milgauss, but the Milgauss doesn't have the lugs protruding as far, so there's a big amount of extra metal here, and not a big effort to reduce the mass here. So there's that. By the way, the watch is beautiful. The colors, I think, are the best for a GMT, and the bevel is amazing, and I love the crown as well, and the no guard profile. The thing that I maybe didn't mention in my previous video, and that we tend to forget, what creates another impression of mass of this watch is the 22 millimeter lug width that we are really not used to anymore. Although Rolex now went to a 21 on many of their sports watches, on the Submariners, to be more precise. Not yet on the GMTs, which are 20. But from 20 to 22, that's quite a bit of a departure, and it does create mass. Imagine if someone is very good at Photoshop, please take a picture here, a snap, and then try to bring the lugs a bit further there. Basically, they would start, they would end where they begin. If you took those 2 millimeters there, and it would create a much different impression. So this watch, everybody says the same. If it was 39 millimeter and a bit thinner, it would be ideal. But yeah, you can't go around the size of the movement. And most importantly, you can't think of this watch as the GMT Master 2, because it's not that. This is the Black Bay Diver. And this is the way to understand and learn to love this watch. As I said before, this is a diver with a GMT complication, which makes it absolutely cool. Then, if you've liked, if wanted to own the Black Bay diver, well, there you go. You have it with an extra super cool complication. So it's best of both worlds. I'm not going to dive with it, so I don't really need the diving graduation, but you can still at least use the bezel as a reference if you really had to dive with it. But to me, I understand diving as being able to jump in the pool without any worry. I know 100 meters of water resistance is fine. Most Rolex are fine in the pool, but I don't know if I would want to take my 20 grand Pepsi, if I had to pay the premium, in the pool on holiday in Thailand or wherever. This is really the traveler's watch, because this one, no worry. Problem with it, it is heavy. It is 170 grams with this, so it is heavier, 10 grams heavier than my Sea Dweller, which feels so comfortable. There's something about Rolex, it just feels so comfortable. You forget about them on the wrist. Even the bigger ones, my Sea Dweller 4000, which is not huge, 40 millimeters, but it is thicker, there's a bit more weight than the Submariners. It's still so comfortable. It feels like a glove. While this one here, you just can't forget it on the wrist. Especially, it's okay when you're sitting, but when you are walking and you have it a bit loose, like I had today, it's just quite heavy. So the trick to me to really love it is to have it very tight, like I have here. I've removed one link, and we talked about the problem of this watch is that if you're unlucky enough, you find yourself between links. There's no half link, and there's only 3 apertures of 2 millimeters. It doesn't cover a whole link. They need to do, or you can have it drilled yourself maybe. They need to put one more hole so you can have the smallest possible adjustment of that you find between the 2 dots. I hope I make sense. However, here today I've lost weight. I've lost 4 or 5 kilos, so I was able to actually bring it even to the middle, like I have on my Black Bay 58. So now I have a bit of wiggle room on each side, which is perfect. And at this level here now, with my size of wrist being a bit more contracted than before, now I can have it really tight. And to me, this is a secret to really have a good experience with it. This watch is to have it really tight on the wrist, so it doesn't go beyond your wrist bone. It is a stop by it. it doesn't hurt that winter is finally coming in Hong Kong. It was unbearably hot until last week, and now finally it's getting a bit more breathable outside. And so the wrist is not going to expand as much when you walk out. So I won't feel stuck here with my watch. Here this is as tight as I get a watch. Normally I would be able to put a finger through it, but maybe I can always readjust it with just a toothpick is enough later on. But this is the way to really enjoy it, nice and tight. But the look of it is massive because of that lug width. So I was considering actually selling this watch again. I've got an offer for it. It's not that great. Not exactly what I want, but now that the watches can be bought in the stores, there you go, no more premium, and people are getting more. It becomes a buyer market for this watch. But I get a reasonable offer, a bit below what I wanted. I'm thinking, okay, maybe move on, stop. I never think twice about my Rolex Explorer or my Datejust. They're perfect watches. I'd never want to sell them. But this, I always come back and forth. It's annoying, this feeling I have for this watch. Because it's so beautiful. To me, it's one of the most beautiful GMTs ever done. I love the colors. I love how it's almost like a Coke, but you have a bit of the Pepsi coming back in the light. It is the best of both worlds because I really love the Cokes and I really like the Pepsi. So this blue color, dark blue that they use is the best, and their red is better than the one from Rolex. And I really like the crown here. Actually, the Rolex cases have become really ugly because they've lost those beautiful bevels, probably because as you get your watches serviced and polished, the bevels go away, and it's a telltale that you've had your watch serviced. So Rolex has put that aside now on their watches, and they brought the super cases so you can polish them forever and ever before you get to the holes that hold the spring bar. But here Tudor has it, and I think that's so cool. And now again, when I have it nice and tight, instead of having it loose on the wrist, I just fall back in love with it because it's such a good watch. You get the lume. I can just keep it on the weekend, go to the pool with it. And again, I feel like keeping the watch because I also think about the future. We look back at the some Tudor models like the big blocks, and this is really it. This is a big block, the big blocks that were emulating the Daytonas and that still were carrying some of the Rolex parts like the crown and the case back. And then they changed it to a more rounded case, which I like better, the 79-200 series compared to the 79-100 series, the actual big blocks. And this one really cuts off the big blocks. It's more like it's a lot more like a Milgauss type of look. Exactly the same, really. And although you have the same thickness, it totally hides it, and it's a very sexy watch, very beautiful. This is reference 79-80, if you're wondering. Just a wonderful watch, and stands on its own, and it's easy to service with the Valjoux, which is very accurate in this watch, actually. And it has the date, so for me, I prefer this than the Daytona, to be honest, because I love to have a date and a cool dial color. But yeah, it is a very Tudor thing to have those big blocks, and now those watches have risen in price way above their retail prices. So I'm thinking, what might happen? I mean, Tudor is a different brand now. It's they're on a great roll. They're running on all cylinders, creating lots of new watches like this blacked out Black Bay ceramic, gorgeous piece, which is nothing like anything that Rolex does, really. You could maybe compare it to the Yacht Master in a way, the dark black gold, white gold one. But really, Tudor took a very unique path, and maybe so the future of Tudor won't be the same as when you look at the watches, the value of the old watches now compared to 20 years ago. But I'm still thinking in 20 years, by then this will have been discontinued. It could be the watch that everybody is looking to get. We're not getting smaller, so in 20 years there'll be more big guys who want to have a bigger watch, and the fashion of bigger watches might come back. Although right now people are looking back at again at reducing the size of their watches on the wrist. 29 millimeter is really the sweet spot, it seems. But yeah, I'm thinking about the future. Is this going to be one of those watches that people miss, that people are looking to buy? They've made a lot of them, of course, but maybe this is a future super collectible. It's such a unique proposition, such a unique event in the life of the brand as well when it came out in 2018, along with the Pepsi that shook the world from Rolex. Maybe it is worth, holding on to it. Really, really tough to, really tough to say. This watch is just, it's always been in love and not so much love. I would never say hate, but love and that little nagging feeling that is not exactly right. And I'm not saying that in the sense that it doesn't measure up to the Rolex. It's not really that. I feel like it is its own thing. It is a diver, and it has that complication on top. It is not a GMT. It's not created to be a GMT in the first place. So I do see it as something different than the GMT. So I just see it for its own merits, and I'm thinking, do I love it or not? And I'm torn. It's a bit like having a beautiful girlfriend, but she's just so annoying at times. And you break up with her, and then you're like banging your head. I mean, why did I break up with that gorgeous Russian model I love? She was so beautiful, and everybody looks at her like she's the most beautiful girl in the world, and she made me feel amazing, but she was so annoying at the same time. And I'm happier now, but it's exactly the same feeling I have for this watch. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. So maybe it's one you should just collect. There's nothing wrong with collecting watches, even if like I hate straps and I don't like deploy and clasp. I hate them, but that's the sort of watch you want to collect, because again, it is so unique in the journey of the brand, something different. And this is a milestone for Tudor, making their own proper GMT movement. I don't know. So let me know in the comments, guys, if you've had it, if you've been on the fence about it, if you've sold it, do you miss it? How do you feel about the watch? I like it when I actually like this chunk of metal. I like it when it's really tight on the wrist. And some people say, oh, put it on the strap. I'm not a big fan of strap. If I could get an oyster flex for it, that would be something different. I don't want to get even like a good quality Everest strap. I always get rashes from that rubber stuff, no matter how good it is. Me, I'm a bracelet kind of guy, and the bracelets of Tudor are amazing, and the clasps are very thin. They're very good. Yeah, I just can't tell. I'll regret not taking the decent offer that I get on it, maybe. But at the same time, there's just no two watches like this Tudor BBGMT. They've nailed the color, the crystal, all the little details, and it does a great job. I'm sure you're like me. You just think about watches all the time, and maybe it's a chance here to compare the two. I think the Seiko really hides the thickness a lot better, and you see the lugs going down straight from the case. That's really well done, and that's the way you should do it. What I love about this one is to have the power reserve, a great complication to have. Fresh colors. Blue is always easy. Blue and white is always very fresh, very easy to wear with anything. The date is impossible to read here. I mean, today is the 8th, but you really have to squint and count the little dots sometimes. And when the hands are at 6 o'clock, you just can't see anything. I think they should have done just an aperture and maybe a more simple dial than those leaves. Yeah, I'm on the fence about this one just because of some design choices, but otherwise I think I'd rather have this than pay more for the Grand Seiko, to be honest, because it just does the same job and it's got a good in-house movement. So there you go. I'm sure we're going to get more GMTs before the end of the year. Absolutely every brand is going to have one. And speaking of Rolex, it's overdue for them to revamp the two-tone yellow gold, black, steel and yellow gold. That one is still reasonably priced compared to everything else. I think it's the value play. It is very flash, but it is very cool. I think that one, if they did it on Jubilee, that would be the way to go. Would be really amazing. And the black, are they going to come back with another black, or maybe a full burgundy dial? And as for Tudor, I'm thinking, they've done that one watch all in one dark color. I think that's the next step for this watch. I think they're gonna just change the color, maybe a uniform color for the whole bezel. Why not a mix of these two? Imagine if this was in ceramic. Look at the reprofile of the Black Bay case. It is a little bit thinner and the weight is gone. Bring this through that, and then you have a very cool GMT. And I think that one watch they've created is the precursor of the next release for the GMT. From Tudor, we're gonna have a dark one, or maybe all gray. Probably in the next release early next year, or whenever it is now. Maybe it's in May instead of March, and that's going to be an interesting watch in ceramic. I think it would make people feel a bit better and try to reprofile a little bit the case. I think it's going to be a sure hit. All right, guys, 22 minutes of yapping. That's enough for me. I wish you a great weekend. Bye bye.